Well, for real estate, it is because the biggest component of the consumer price index is housing, because for most families, housing is their biggest household expenditure by far. So historically, rents and home prices track along with inflation. They do lag a little bit, but over time, they will always catch up.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to and watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz, back from a month of play in Europe and in Asia, but not really play. I got to admit, I worked way more than I thought I was going to, probably way more than if I was at home, but still managed to have a great time, eat great food, see amazing sights. And if you haven't traveled, I suggest you do. If you use my techniques, you won't even pay very much. Free business class flights to Spain, wow. Free business class flights to Thailand, and, basically hotels. Oftentimes I was paying what you pay for breakfast at one. So, hey, we got a checklist for that. If you want it, write me an email. Just put travel for free in the subject, and it's KL@kerrylutz.com. So, Lon Welsh is with us now. Lon, real estate, been in it for quite some time. You've got your take on it. We talk to a lot of real estate people here. And the interesting thing is, as different as your approach might be, all of you are kind of on the same wavelength, the same path. Yeah, I don't know if that's because it takes a certain kind of personality to do real estate, or if after you've been in it a while, you kind of wind up doing the same things. What's your thoughts, Slop?
I think it's a little bit of both. To work in commercial real estate, you need to have a good financial orientation and a real love just for the product. So I think that kind of takes the audience and winnows it down. And then with the small group that are in it, they end up talking to each other quite a bit. So it probably reinforces a lot of the patterns.
Right. So, okay. Real estate investing. There's no other area of investing that I've found where there's as many winners as there are in real estate. Whereas you go into crypto, yeah, like you could be a major winner, but there are a lot of losers there. You go into the market, and the market's the market. It's all timing, which nobody knows how to do. But real estate doesn't work that way, does it?
No, I think most people approach real estate with a multiple year horizon with their investment idea versus crypto and stocks. Sometimes people have a very short term focus, and the shorter the time horizon, the more important your timing becomes. If you're in real estate for a long time, it's really hard to lose money.
Yeah, if you can stick out the down periods, which are infrequent, but crash every 17 years, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So like, I've seen there was a guy who wrote a book called The Real Estate Investing Cycle.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but I did get the book. It was very difficult to get it because it was out of print, but it's written like 40 years ago, and it's always the same. Like, I'm here in Florida, we got international money. Then we have a crash, everyone runs for the doors. And then it's the local guys, the local speculators that start to perceive value. And then it gets built up and you start getting institutional. And then when the party's almost over, guess what? You get the international crowd in again.
Yep.
Is that your experience?
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, what the cycle looks like if you're in an internationally driven market. So I live in Colorado, so some of our ski resort towns are attractive to international buyers, and it's very similar to what you described.
Mm-hmm. So what's the worst deal you ever made in real estate, Lon?
Oh, gosh. We bought an office building in Houston about 6 months before COVID that we were going to renovate. And
great timing there.
It was a total disaster. So that was actually my first fund that I did with a lot of other limited partners. So we had one really great investment in that fund and one really terrible one. They averaged it out, fortunately.
Yeah, well, the average of life and death is being a zombie, right?
Right.
All right. So now where this cycle is getting old because look, 2008, 17 years ago. Is this time really different, or are we going to have a crash at some point?
On the real estate side, I don't anticipate we'll have a crash on the residential side. And the reason is that home prices have gone up so much, so fast, that there is a lot of equity, a record amount of equity. If you take a look at 2007 and 2008, in composite, the value of all the mortgages in America were greater than the value of all the real estate all the homes in America. So collectively, we're all underwater by a little bit. This time, it's the other way around with a huge amount of equity. Interestingly enough, about 38% of the homes in America don't even have a mortgage at all.
That is interesting. And so a lot of cash buyers. Is inflation dead? Is Doge going to kill inflation? Because obviously, any asset holder's greatest friend within reason is inflation, right?
Well, for real estate, it is because the biggest component of the consumer price index is housing, because for most families, housing is their biggest household expenditure by far. So historically, rents and home prices track along with inflation. They do lag a little bit, but over time, they will always catch up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about inflation. Will Rogers once said, invest in inflation. It's the only thing going up. And certainly in the past 17 years, the real economy has been lagging, but real estate, i.e. inflation, has been going up.
It has. So what will happen next with inflation is probably really contingent on how fast we can wrap up the tariff negotiations we're going through right now. So hopefully that'll come to a favorable conclusion with a lot of the countries, and we'll see things die down a little bit.
You know what? I am glad you raised that point, because I have actually written a little screed about it, and I just have to find it here. If you'll be patient with me.
Sure.
Let's see. I didn't post it yet in the Substack, unfortunately, but let me see if I can find it. I know it's here. Well, I'll just tell you the premise of it here. It's like all these countries want to make trade deals with the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing is that it's not like it used to be. Basically, trade deals would take forever, because they were a giant grift, because you had all these diplomats. They get to stay in 5-star resorts. They're having Chateau Petrus with all their meals. They're having it with breakfast. I mean, it's a grift on the taxpayer's dime, and the incentive is not to make a deal when you got all these grifters. And that's not just the United States. It's the whole world here, Lon, But now with AI, and believe me, if there's one thing the current admin knows how to do is use AI, probably better than anyone. You just feed in a trade deal. You tell it to find, and you feed it into a model that specializes in international law, shipping, logistics, and tariffs and everything else. You feed the current agreement in there and say, show me every way we're getting ripped off now. And then 5 minutes later, it tells you every way you're getting ripped off. And then another 5 minutes later, it's got your completed agreement here for your signature, Prime Minister Carney or whomever, right? And take it or leave it. And so it's not going to take months or even years to do these things. This is the mindset of the media, the legacy media, and really it's a narrative that just isn't true.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can get through this a lot more rapidly, because of the tools, like you mentioned, should really enable people to think through the process a lot faster. I certainly hope so. The uncertainty is not helping out the markets a whole lot at the moment.
Yeah, trust me on this. It's going to happen. It's just nobody quite gets it, but we get it.
Right.
We definitely get it here. So, all right. So the tariff thing, once that goes away, what's going to happen?
Well, we had seen a pretty consistent trend with the consumer price index declining on a very gentle slope over the last 12 to 18 months. I'm not an inflation expert by any means, but just from what I read in the Wall Street Journal every day. So hopefully this will be a blip and we'll get back on track with the things declining. One of the components of the CPI, consumer price index, that had been propping it up was home prices, but we're seeing that the rate of home price appreciation is slowing down. Rent growth is slowing down over the last year. So that'll certainly be an assist to the inflation rate coming down as well.
All right. So you a buyer or a seller?
Oh, we're a buyer. There's a lot of really great opportunities out there in the market right now.
All right. I like it. And I tend to agree with you, believe it or not. And all right. How do we find you? How do we connect with you, Lon?
You can go to irontoncapital.com, IRONTON capital.com. And actually, we've got a book on passive investing we can make free for your audience. So
we like it. Great.
Yeah, irontoncapital.com/financial survival, I believe. Yeah, so that should be really easy to remember.
All right. And that link will definitely be in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. So make sure you click that link so Lon knows we're sending people to him and get the book. And if you have any questions for Lon, myself, shoot me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. While you're at it, sign up for our free newsletter. We got 80,000 subscribers now, more on the way. Really appreciate you coming on with us, Lon. And hey, I guess we're going to find out who's right and who's wrong over the next 3 to 6 months, right?
I think we'll know a lot more in 3 months.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.